You ever have one of those moments where your entire life flips upside down, all because of someone else's mistake? Yeah, that was me. The day Karen's daughter stole my car, crashed it while running from the cops. And somehow, her mom tried to blame me. Let me start from the beginning. It was a calm Saturday morning, the kind where the sun hits just right, the coffee is hot, and you're finally caught up on sleep. I was in my driveway, admiring my pride and joy, my midnight blue BMW M4. I'd worked for years to afford that car. It wasn't just metal and leather. It was proof that I'd made it out of the grind. Now, living in an HOA neighborhood means you meet all sorts of people. Most are fine, some not so much. And then there's Karen, you know the type. Clipboard, sunglasses, permanent scowl, always complaining about lawn heights, garbage bins, or the tone of someone's mailbox color. Her daughter Tessa was the opposite, loud, rebellious, and always speeding through the neighborhood in her beat-up sedan. The cops had been called on her more than once, but Karen always smoothed things over with her connections. That morning, I noticed Tessa pacing in front of her house, phone in hand, arguing with someone. I didn't think much of it. I went inside to grab breakfast. When I came back out, my BMW was gone. My heart dropped. At first, I thought I'd misplaced the keys, but no, they were gone from the counter. My security camera disconnected. That's when I knew someone had taken my car. 10 minutes later, I heard sirens. Then my phone buzzed. A call from an unknown number. I answered. A police officer's voice came through. "Sir, is this the owner of a midnight blue BMW M4? My stomach sank. Yes. Why? There's been an accident. The vehicle was involved in a pursuit. We need you to come to the intersection of Maple and Ridgeway." When I arrived, I froze. My BMW was wrapped around a streetlight, smoke curling from the hood. Tessa stood beside it, cuffed, crying, mascara running down her face. And there, screaming at the officers, was Karen. "This isn't her fault. He let her drive it," she yelled, pointing straight at me. I was speechless. My car was totaled, and somehow she was blaming me. I stood there stunned as Karen's shrill voice cut through the chaos. "He let her take it," she screamed, waving her perfectly manicured hands like a courtroom lawyer. "He's covering for her because he doesn't want insurance to find out." The officers were trying to calm her down, but Karen was relentless, every bit the neighborhood tyrant I'd always known she was. Meanwhile, Tessa was sitting on the curb, head in her hands, refusing to look at me. When I finally found my voice, I said, "Officer, I did not give her permission to take my car. She broke into my garage and stole it." Karen spun around like she'd been waiting for that. "Oh, please," she snapped. "You've been flirting with her for months. Everyone's seen you talking to her." That hit like a slap. I wasn't even sure how to respond. I'd spoken to Tessa maybe 3 times, all about her speeding through the neighborhood. The officer looked between us, clearly trying to piece together what was happening. Then he said the one thing that made my blood run cold. "Sir, we'll need to review your home security footage to confirm what happened." Except my cameras had been disconnected. Karen smirked, as if she already knew that. "Oh, how convenient," she said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "No footage, no proof." The police impounded the car, and I was told to come to the station later for a full statement. But the real nightmare didn't start until the next day. By morning, every neighbor seemed to know my side of the street. Karen had been busy walking door to door, spreading her version of the story. She told everyone I'd given her daughter the keys after a few drinks and that I was trying to frame Tessa to avoid paying for damages. Then came the email, an HOA emergency meeting notice. Subject line: incident involving resident safety and property damage. That evening, I walked into the community clubhouse, and all eyes turned to me. Karen was sitting front and center, a self-satisfied smirk plastered across her face. The president cleared his throat. "We've been informed of a serious incident involving you, your vehicle, and another resident's daughter. Before we proceed, do you have anything to say for yourself?" I looked around at the faces. People I'd waved to, helped with yard work, even shared barbecues with, all staring like I was a criminal. I took a deep breath and said, "Yeah, I've got a lot to say." I stood before the HOA board like a defendant on trial. Karen's smug grin never faltered as she whispered theatrically to the woman beside her. The HOA president, Mr. Donnelly, folded his arms. "We've heard some troubling allegations," he said slowly, "that your vehicle was involved in a police chase, and that you may have cleared his throat, allowed a minor to operate it." My pulse thudded in my ears. "That's a lie," I said, forcing my voice to stay even. "Tessa stole my car. My security system was disabled before it happened." Karen cut in with that fake, sweet tone of hers. "Oh, come on. You expect us to believe she just broke into your garage in broad daylight?" I turned to her. "That's exactly what happened." "Then where's your proof?" she fired back, crossing her arms like she'd already won. That's when I remembered something. Something she didn't know I still had. My car had an internal dash cam with remote cloud backup. It automatically uploaded footage when the ignition turned on. I hadn't checked it yet because my phone was blowing up with calls from the insurance company and the police. So, right there in front of everyone, I pulled out my phone, opened the app, and scrolled to the timestamp from that morning. The room fell silent. I hit play. The video started in my garage. You could see the door slowly opening, and there was Tessa slipping inside, wearing a hoodie, glancing around like a thief. She unplugged my security camera, searched my workbench, and found the spare keys I kept in a drawer. Then came the engine roar. She smirked into the dash cam before backing out and peeling down the street. The audio caught her last words before she took off. "Let's see if they catch me now." The room gasped. Karen went pale. I looked her dead in the eyes. "So, Karen, do you still think I let her borrow it?" For once, she didn't speak. The HOA president exhaled and leaned back in his chair. "Well, I think that settles this matter. We'll be issuing a statement clearing your name." Karen's jaw trembled. This doesn't prove," I cut her off. "It proves everything." She stormed out of the meeting, her heels echoing down the hallway. But as I would soon find out, this wasn't over. Karen wasn't done, not even close. You'd think, after being publicly humiliated in front of the entire HOA, Karen would finally back off. You'd think. But if there's one thing I learned about her, it's that she doesn't lose quietly. 2 days after the meeting, I woke up to a pounding on my front door. It was an officer again. "Sir, we received a report that you've been harassing your neighbor, Karen Matthews," he said. I blinked. "Harassing?" He nodded, flipping through his notes. "She claims you've been following her, sending threatening messages and vandalizing her property." I almost laughed. "You've got to be kidding me." but he wasn't. Karen had gone full scorched earth. She showed the cops evidence. Screenshots of text messages from an unknown number, supposedly from me, filled with insults and threats. She even had photos of tire marks near her mailbox, claiming I'd been doing donuts in front of her house. Luckily, I had one thing she didn't expect: actual proof. I pulled up my Ring camera footage, showing that at the times she claimed I was harassing her, I was either asleep or not even home. The officer reviewed it, nodded, and sighed. "We'll file this as a false report for now. Just be careful." She seems determined. Determined was an understatement. Over the next week, I found nasty notes on my doorstep. Someone egged my front window. My trash cans were mysteriously knocked over every morning. It was obvious who was behind it, but catching her was another matter. So, I set a trap. I installed a motion-activated camera disguised as a garden light near my driveway. 3 nights later, bingo. The footage showed Karen sneaking onto my property in her bathrobe at 2 a.m., throwing eggs at my house like an unhinged teenager. I sent the footage straight to the HOA and the police. The next day, she got served with a restraining order, but the final blow came from her own daughter. Tessa reached out to me, not to apologize, but to vent. She said her mom had forced her to lie about me, threatening to cut her off financially if she didn't. The stress had been eating her alive since the crash. Tessa gave a written statement to the police, confirming everything: the theft, the lies, the cover-up. Within a week, Karen's reputation crumbled. She was removed from the HOA board and fined for filing false reports and property damage. As for me, my insurance covered the car. I got a brand new BMW and a quiet neighborhood for the first time in years. Sometimes karma doesn't need help, it just needs patience. Karen might have lost this battle, but there are plenty more HOA nightmares to uncover. Subscribe for more unbelievable real stories. Hit like and let me know below what you'd have done in my place.